Hello, welcome to the 18th day of November 2025. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation, a live video exercise that I do every morning at 5:30 a.m. to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone, which you can read for free at goingalone.org. I also use the time to think about the last 24 hours and how I did with the various challenges and opportunities that I met. I go over my creed and I prepare for the coming day. But first, a huge thank you to my YouTube subscribers and members and my Patreon supporters. I really do appreciate your help, your support. Also, I do talk about sensitive subjects like death, so be forewarned. And let's get started. So, looking over my notes for the last 24 hours, I just noticed one note here that says stress relief. So I have two big events that are happening in my life right now that would have been a source of persistent stress, which is these are the situation happening back in the United States. Oh, if you're new, I'm a retired 61-year-old American man living in Japan with my wife. Our daughter also lives here as well. We all returned to Japan after a sojourn in the United States for a decade from 2014 to 2024. So I'm settling in my new life here, the house that we bought, uh, and I make notes about the challenges and the opportunities that I face. I have two broad challenges that are going on right now. One is rather secretive. I call that the situation that's happening back in the States. That doesn't. The reason it's secretive is that it's not my situation; it's somebody else's. But I'm involved as someone who can offer support and help, and it could draw me back to America. So there's that's been causing me stress. And then I have this Project 2025, which is a logistical challenge to get my wife and I safely secured into the safe haven of receiving our beginning to draw our retirement pensions, both here from Japan and the United States, which will happen in summer 2026. But I got to get there. So both of these situations have been causing me uh, I wouldn't call it an insignificant amount of stress, but some certain stress that has had an impact on me. Sleepless nights again and such. Although truly, it's a little bit like someone who is fussing over some. It's like I feel like a grandparent who hasn't had to worry about children for a while, and then the grandkids get dropped off, and I worry about their every move and action. That these kind of situations are situations that I would have handled more in my course in my working years, but now are having more of an impact on me, largely because my life is relatively stress free at this point. So any even slight stress are amplified. Boy, that's something to note. That's very interesting, isn't it? I should be prepared for that because I have, two of the objectives, the principles from my book are first, one of them is called Life Will Not Go Well, which is just what it says. Life's not going to go well sometimes. And then the other one is the horror show, which is life not going well on steroids. And I have to be prepared for these. And now I have to understand that when they do come as a retired person, I may be less capable or able to deal with such levels of stress uh, simply by virtue of the fact that I've been living in peace. Think of it like a bodybuilder, that takes some time off from, or a runner, right? Yeah. A runner who takes some time off from their running routine and then decides to join a 5K marathon, right? Yeah, that 5K marathon might have been taken in their stride, so to speak, during their active training years, but will be more of a challenge once the training is done. So anyway, I've been suffering a lot of that stress, which has caused me to take a couple of very interesting activities. It's caused me to order my house even to bring even greater order and stability to my home and life, so that if in the case of the situation, if I do go back to America, that I can leave Japan in good order, and it pretty much is. But it's also caused me to do things that I wouldn't have done otherwise, like look for work in earnest, right? Because Project 2026, although I do have a plan in place that will get us there, I want a backup because I've already learned my lesson. That as much as I planned for Project 2025, again, no politics aside, awful naming of a project, Kurt, bad job. But Project 2025 aside, which was the project to get us to Japan, buy a house, car, and get settled, I had really missed the boat on that one angle of the IRS draw off of my 401k withdrawals, which is going to be a boon come tax time. But until then, I need I need a bridge so that I don't have to go deeper into into spending my savings. Now, having learned that, I don't want to be in a position. What if I'm wrong again, right? So I've been seeking after work, and I have got a humdinger of a job opportunity on the line. I'll be interviewing for it next week, and in about just about a week. I'm really excited about it. I've rarely felt so excited about a job ever in my life. In the past, I was excited about work for work's sake, for the capacity that it would provide me to take care of myself and my family. This one, I'm excited just for the inherent uh, engagement of virtue. Principle no, objective number 5 in my creed is to perform good actions relative to my values. And the principal aim of my values is the furtherance of virtue in the world, where virtue is simply defined as the improvement of the well-being of thinking creatures, improved happiness, decreased unhappiness, not at the expense of one another, right? So, happiness improved without doing it at the undue cost of another person, right? So it's complicated. It sounds easy, but it's a little complicated to do. But this job, as I imagine it so far, and as I've researched it, would appear to do that in spades, while also providing me with the backup solution that I want for Project 2026. Um, and I'm very excited about it. So I'll be having that interview next week. Very, very excited about that. So the only one note here then is stress reduced. Let's see if that'll help me to sleep a little better at night. I did sleep mostly through the night. I did get up once. That was a good step forward. Although I have to do some stuff this morning to finish off this stress relief activity that occurred. All right, as for my creed, 8 objectives, 35 principles, again in Going Alone, which you can read for free at goingalone.org. Thank you very much to my Patreon supporters and YouTube members. Your contributions contribute to, or you can not contribute, they wholly support the website, which is no small endeavor. It's $400 a year to run that website, and your support does that. So thank you to my supporters who make it possible for me to say, you can read about my creed and my story in my book or at my website. Just go to goingalone.org, click on the little link in the middle there that says read the book, look for the chapter titled The Good Life, and you can find the creed. Every morning I recite the 8 objectives and go over one of them in detail. Today I'm going to go over the second objective, the objective of reason. But sorry, that would be a principle of reason. Sorry. So the 8 objectives are as follows, separate from the principles. The objectives are where I'm aiming for. This is how I want to live my life. This is what I'm trying to do. The principles are the tools that help me to stay stable and straight in my effort and endeavor to do those things. Objective number 1 is to be at all times ready to die, having my affairs, life's work, and um, uh, relationships in good order. Number 2 is to make good and effective use of my time so I don't waste my life and the limited time that I have left or that I ever had. 3 is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. 4 is to cultivate good emotional reactions so I respond well when things get tough. 5 is to perform good actions relative to my values, as I said earlier. Number 6 is to recognize my true limits and true opportunities so I know where the scope of my capabilities are and where they end. Number 7 is to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. And number 8 is a condition of balance that can be achieved with successful uh, utilization of the first 7 objectives. Today I'm going to read principle number 2, the principle of reason. The principle of reason. And there's a quote here from Aristotle: "The life of reason is best and pleasantest, since reason, more than anything else, is man. So too, this life also is the happiest." And there are a couple of sub principles here. These are honesty, objectivity, doubt, and humiliation. Let's see if I can position the light so I can actually see. Let me try my best. It's really dark. Reason is my first instrument of reconciling hypothesis with truth. To be effective, I must be honest with myself and others regarding what I know and do not know, and make pains to view the world objectively, without coloring reality too much with imagination fortified of want or need or fear or the normalizing pressure of authority, tradition, and unfounded consensus. Doubt is my default stance and starting point for every new venture of inquiry, and humiliation at my own realized folly, the surest sense that I am on the right track of correcting my own wrongs. Reason, at its best, is a tool of self immolation, turned first inward as I seek to burn away the chaff and waste of unprincipled living, and then outward in resistance to our species' less worthy answers to the mysteries of life. Reason is at the core of my epistemology for identifying what is true in the world, turned first and foremost to myself and then outwardly towards propositions of truth that come from me, from the world at large, and particularly from others. All right, as for today, I have three things I want to do. I'm going to try to wrap this up early because I have another step to do. I need to call back to the United States to a financial institution there with a question, and I want to get them before they close. So I'll finish off this early in short order, and so I can do that. That'll help with the stress relief. Then I do have a lesson to teach today with my online teaching, and then I'm hoping to go buy a shirt. I did bring a suit with me from the United States for just in case I have an interview. Thank goodness I did, and thank goodness I fit it. It fits well, and then but I need to get a dress shirt and a pair of nice shoes, so I'll go do those things today. All right, let's read comments. And by the way, it is, oh, I can't see. The temperature thing fell over, but it's about 18 degrees inside. I don't know what the temperature is outside. It should be about significantly cooler than yesterday. Hello, Elvina. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. I'm still at work, so I can't stay on, but I hope everyone is having a great day. Thank you, Elvina. Wishing you all the best. Hope you have a good remaining day at work. Tim, hi, Tim. Good morning. Weather check for here in the UK at 8:33 p.m. is 0.0 degrees Celsius. I think that's a first for the channel. You're the first to come in at 0 and 93% humidity. Lovely, sunny, crisp day. Wow, wet winter has arrived. It's funny because they say that winter would arrive in earnest about the third week of November, as it seems to be doing this week as well. Patterns or coincidence across the world. Evelyn, hi Evelyn. Evelyn says hi to myself, Tim, and Elvina. Tim says hi to Evelyn. David Jackson, hey David, remarks 0.0. Wow! Exclamation point! Question marks. I was feeling the same sentiment, David. It's good to see you, by the way. Evelyn says weather is in BO at at 9:35 p.m. is 11 degrees Celsius and 85% humidity. Mm. Tim says, when I look back, especially at the work stress, I never focused on the cause of the stress, only on the results of the stress, which I think only compounded it and made it worse. Probably. Mm. Interesting. Not focused on the causes and only on the results. Hmm. There's a lot to that. It's like a package that needs unwrapping. Think about that today. look at the cause and not the results, or looking at the results, not the cause. Well, for me, when I was, well, you mentioned work. For me, for work, yeah, it was like a whack-a-mole, right? I never questioned that the mole rose. I just endeavored to knock it back down. Tim goes on, as focusing on the cause and remedy would have been to have resigned from the job. you don't want you don't want to see what puppet master is down there causing those moles to rise, huh? Mm. Tim continues. Upside on the cold snap is the calm sunny days. That's nice. All right, everybody. Well, I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now. Like I said, I have one step to do to hopefully further along this one stress reduction thing. Um, and it's going to work, but it's just a matter of finding. I've got 2 or 3 ways that I can make it work. It's tough to bank from overseas sometimes. I wish you all the best. Be safe, but not too safe. And remember, well, at least for me, tonight I will die in my sleep. Take care. Well, Evelyn says, getting financial documents sent to me here for my residency is really a headache. I thought it would be the other way around. Hope it's easier for you. Well, Evelyn, what I did was I set up a mail forwarding address system. I have a service that my new address is in the United States, um, and it's a service called Traveling Mailbox. And so with that service, I get an address in the United States, and I can sign it up with my financial institutions and everything, and then the documents are sent to Traveling Mailbox. And when a new document arrives, I have an app on my phone, and I can just look at the app, and I can ask them to open the document, scan it, and I can look at it, and then I can choose to shred it or have it forwarded to me. In which case they charge me like $6 in the mail, and it gets forwarded. So getting it here wasn't a problem. And I guess I'll go ahead and explain to you the challenge that I'm having. Although it did take a long time to get here, I have things like my ATM cards. I just have them forwarded here, and I can get them here and activate them from here, and I do that. And the, the the document that I was waiting for was a big check. Okay, this is an important part of. I guess I'm going to share with you guys details. So this was an important part of Project 2026 was to get a check from one of my 401ks. It was the first time I'd used that 401k. I have multiple 401ks, and first time to dip into that fund, and turned out that I couldn't do a direct deposit for various and sundry reasons. The only option was to get a check. So I had them send the check to the forwarding service, and they along with a debit card the following week. Now, so the check went one week, and then this is important because I need that check to deposit into my bank to get me to Social Security. You see how important this is, right? If I don't get that check in the bank, I'm not going to be able to service my daughter's college loans. I need that money in that bank. So I had it sent, and it never showed up. But then a week later, a new bank card arrived. I had that sent, and that's arrived in short order. So I was basically, well, where's the check, right? I really need this check to arrive to cover everything. And so you're okay. Well, this is a good chance. This is a good chance to talk about my values and my creed. So I set about first. I used temperance to control my emotions. Hashtag temperance, and then I used hashtag reason to come up with a plan. I researched what a reasonable amount of time would be to have a letter arrive. Now, I know. I should have sent it via registered mail, really, right? DHL or something like that. And I had that option. I chose not to simply because I've had received so many letters already in the past from that forwarding service, 100% of them successfully, all of them within a week. And it was just a little letter. I thought it'll arrive because the mail forwarding service was like $100, and then forwarding regularly was like $6. So I'll just send it. My mistake. Anyway, it didn't arrive. But anyway, I used reason to figure out, okay, I'm going to give it a month uh, to arrive. And if it doesn't arrive in a month, then I'll call up the financial institution and ask them to cancel the check and then to reissue it again. And this time, when it arrives at the forwarding service, I'll use the expedited delivery to get it here in time. That was my plan. And I was sitting on top of that, and every day I would remember my plan. And it was, man, this is one of the things that was causing me stress. So now here's the problem. Fine, and that turned out to be a really good plan because my deadline for all of this was tomorrow. Tomorrow was the day. Today, Tuesday, the 18th was the last day that I was going to wait for the check to arrive. And if it didn't arrive by today, end of day today, I was going to call the financial institution tomorrow and start the process over. It arrived last night. So great. So now I've got the check, and I went into my app for my banking app to scan the check and put it in. But guess what? It's too big a check, so I can't. You can't scan it in. The app will only accept checks up to a certain dollar amount. So I need to call the bank right now to get them to one, either raise the limit at which I can the deposit limit, or I'll confirm to them the address where I can simply endorse the check and mail it into them and have them deposit it that way. Either way, it's going to get there, and then I'll just go and I'll do registered mail and send it to the bank and get it deposited. And Project 2026 will be in effect, right? So I'm so close now to having our financial circumstance set and secure. uh, and by the way, this money that's coming over is within this perusal of our budget. It is it is basically the last bit of our budgeted money for Project 2025, and I can make it stretch because I realize this. I have this plan to get the tax refund back in February, in mid or to late February, which will then cover us to Social Security. So I've kind of laid out the whole plan already, haven't I? I didn't really think that was necessary, but it kind of made sense now, and it's helpful for me to kind of share it sometimes. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. After I'm done with all you, I'm going to get on the horn with the bank and say, hey, can you raise my deposit limit so I can send you this electronic deposit? And if not, then I'll mail it to them. Tim says, have a great day. Thank you. Robert says hi to Kurt, to myself, Alvina, Tim, Evelyn, David, and Kurt notes it's currently 35 degrees Fahrenheit and 56% humidity with an air quality index of 26 in Napanee, Ontario, Canada. Eh? Tim says hi to Robert. Evelyn says hi to David and Robert. And with that, I'm going to sign off, wishing you all well, be safe, but not too safe. And for me, tonight, I will die in my sleep. Bye bye, everybody.